Hey guys, how's it going? My name is McToasten. I watched the Clash of the Castle PLE yesterday, and I decided I wanted to make a little review video on it on the channel. So I'm going to talk through the whole card, top to bottom, say what I liked, what I didn't like, did this work, did it not work, just kind of talk it through. I have been watching wrestling again for a while now, and I feel like I've developed my own opinions, and I'm not just like echoing what people say. So I'm going to tell you what I think of the show. I think, for the most part, it was a good show. It had its moments. It had some like, ugh, but we'll talk about it. So I'm just gonna make my way through the card, talk about all five matches, and if there were little bits in between or whatever, promos, anything like that, I'll talk about that as well. And yeah, should be a good time. So we kick things off with Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles in an I Quit match for the undisputed Universal WWE Super Giga Mega Ultra Championship. That was to be expected. I feel like that match was pretty much exactly what I expected. They were going to want Cody to get down and dirty. He even wore the Crimson Mask for a little bit. I am not the biggest Cody Rhodes fan. I'm pretty far from a Cody crybaby, but it was a fine match. It was a decent opener, and they had a better match in Backlash, but that was a different stipulation. That was just a normal old title bout. In this one, they had to do some like crazy stuff. So they had like a handcuffs out at one point, and Cody Rhodes hit AJ Styles in the face with a chair. Like he didn't like bonk him over the head with it, which is like super banned now, but he did throw it at him, and it like clearly bonked him on the head. So that was kind of cool to see, just like a little homage to the old school style of like, let's say everybody get CTE, that don't get CTE, kids. It's not good. Anyway, that was definitely the expected result. I feel like most people were like, AJ's not going to win here. There's just no shot that AJ's going to win. But they did it well. I feel like they did a pretty good job, and AJ is just a fantastic sniveling little heel, like, and at the finish, AJ's like handcuffed in the corner, and he's like, I quit, and Cody's sitting there over him with these gigantic steel steps, and it was a fun match. So yeah, it met my expectations, and I think that it was pretty solid. Gives Cody something to do for this PLE. I just don't know what's next for AJ. I mean, he lost twice now, and he lost handedly both times. Now what, So that's my like big worry with this, but overall that match was pretty solid. The end of the match was also pretty interesting because we had the Bloodline come out and beat the daylights out of Cody Rhodes, even though he kind of no-sold it, and then Randy Orton and Kevin Owens made the save. They ran out. Nobody even knew Randy Orton was in Glasgow. I don't know if that's true, but he ran out there with KO. They punched the bloodline, so we're going to set up something for Money in the Bank, or we're building towards SummerSlam already. But I really do think where we're going is Cody is going to work with Randy and KO, be friends with them, and then Randy's going to turn heel on those two and go after Cody's championship. He even teased it a little bit. I'm sure you've seen some stills if you're keeping up with all the metrics and everything that's coming out. Like Randy like gives him one of those looking at the title after he makes the save. So I think that's definitely where we're going with that. And absolutely, Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes would be really fun. Lift the title off of Cody at SummerSlam, give him something to do. He's better. I think he's better as a chasing babyface than he is as a reigning babyface because there's no monster heels right now. So it's just like, yeah, obviously he's gonna win. Turn Randy into a monster heel. There it is. Have him yoink the title off of him. You can make it a best of three set, best of four set if you want to. I don't care. And then just give Cody something to do until WrestleMania, at which point he'll probably fight The Rock if The Rock is in wrestling condition. So, yeah. Pretty good all the way through. The next bout we had on our hands was Jade and Bianca fighting against Alba and Isla, and also against Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark in a triple threat for the WWE Women's Tag Team titles. I think that's what the title's called. Very solid. Very, very solid all the way through. I really think that we need more of these kinds of matches. The triple threat tag team matches are really, really fun. I do not like the like six pack or whatever when there's like you can like tag anybody in. I think that's kind of silly, but I really do like the tornado style of matches, and I think it served this match really, really well because you can't get that finish if you don't have this kind of match. So aside from a few missed spots, I think everybody, if you saw the show, everybody knows Jade's slip off the top rope was a little hard to watch, although there's something way later in the show that was way harder to watch. But yeah, she got like the hot tag, she jumped onto the ropes, and then she went and just face planted. It was a little funny, but this is a human being that's trying their best out there, so I try not to laugh. But yeah, it was a little rough, especially when Jade Cargill's trying to be this like super like I'm the strongest person ever. Oh, I fell on my face, So it was just a little funky, and I don't like the word botch, but it was a botch. Um, there was also a couple moments where it just seems like some wires got crossed between the wrestlers. Like at one point, when Shayna was getting like bounced around between Bianca and Jade, she like kind of like just awkwardly stumbled into Jade, who like punched her in the stomach, and she sold it like she had just been shot with a Magnum revolver. And it was just like some stuff like that. But I mean, that's pretty average of any match that you're gonna see. And I don't really have any like super big qualms about this match. I think that it actually was really, really good for the most part, and there were some really cool spots. They did like a gigantic superplex powerbomb thing from the top rope. That was pretty cool. That was a good spot right there. And for the most part, very very solid wrestling. And then the finish. I don't think most people thought that this was gonna happen. I thought they were just throwing Isla Dawn and Alba Fire a bone because Scotland Raw, but not the case. Alba and Isla snuck in, got the pin over Shayna Baszler when she was hit with the like catapult maneuver that Jade and Bianca do, and they stole the titles. That was pretty cool. Obviously, you can't have Bianca or Jade get pinned because it just doesn't make sense for them to get pinned. So this is a good way of lifting the titles off of them. I just don't know what we're gonna do now because Isla and Alba have the titles now. Are they still going to be featured as much as they were when Bianca and Jade carried them? What's next for Bianca and Jade? I kind of figured that when Bianca and Jade lost their titles, they were going to start fighting each other, and I don't think that we're going to do that for a while. So, yeah. Although I think Jade Cargill will work way better as a heel than she does as a babyface right now, because people like her because she's new, and her character is just like, mm. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I think that'll work better as a heel when she can be egocentric and she can be like, I don't know, just more self-indulgent. And I think that when we finally do turn her heel to fight Bianca Belair, that'll be awesome. I just don't know if we're doing that right now or not. But going back to Isla and Alba, I think that it was a really awesome finish. I like audibly yelled. I was like, "Oh!" All nerding out when it actually happened. I didn't anticipate it. It was a fun little theft victory right there. And do they look like the strongest champions? Absolutely not. But do they deserve a title run? Absolutely. They've been putting in a lot of time and energy and effort into NXT, NXT UK, SmackDown. It's just like they really put their heart and souls into this one. So I'm very happy for them, especially with all the stuff that Alba Fire is going through. It sucks. And I'm glad that she has something to hang her hat on for this week. Human side of wrestling. Following that match was the Sami Zayn and Chad Gable intercontinental bout with Otis and Maxine Dupree on the sidelines. So this match was, it might have been my least favorite on the night, but not because it was like bad wrestling. The match before the Otis like Maxine Dupree whole intervention situation, it was a little bit gimmicky. That's kind of why I didn't like it. There was a spot when Sammy and Chad were just kind of like locking up and then spinning around each other and then spinning around each other, and they did it like 5, 6 times. It just felt like I don't really love seeing that kind of thing, just because it's like, yeah, I know it's a work. I know we're like trying to protect our friends and not actually hurt them and everything. But when you're just like changing places on like a backlock, it's like Sami Zayn's not a wrestler, like a wrestler, like Greco-Roman grappling like Chad Gable very much is. And I get why you try to do that, but it just looked a little funky to me. And there was some spots where it was just like, eh. Also, Chad Gable got dropped directly on his head at one point. That was awful looking. If I could find a still, it'll be right here. But oh my goodness, that was, ooh, it's just yeeted him backwards and he landed directly on the crown of his noggin. That was no fun. But the commentators were also really annoying during this one, because we have heel Wade Barrett, heel Corey Graves, and face Michael Cole on commentary. And it's just like them being like, "Oh, well, Chad Gable's the greatest man ever," and then Michael Cole's like, he's a master manipulator and he's kind of a douche." And then they're like, and then Wade Barrett's being all British, and it was just like, they were being a little much in that match for me. I don't mind a little bickering in the commentators, but I couldn't even focus. Like, I was just like, "Shut up, shh." I was twitching just a little bit. The whole Maxine Dupree angle out there, like being with Otis and like watching the show with her like poor boot on her foot, it was really good. I think that looked pretty good, pretty realistic, and they didn't look like they were really rushing to get to that spot, or like they didn't miss their cues or anything. It was right on the money. When Sami Zayn launched Chad Gable at her, and he like hit the back of her leg, and she's like, "Oh no, my leg, I'm broken." And then Otis like gets up and in Chad Gable's face again, because we're totally gonna do that hopefully soon. I mean, feel like we're getting to the peak here because Otis did not help Chad Gable win tonight, and he lost tonight. So there's going to be hell to pay on Monday. I think it's Monday. I don't know. Whenever the Alpha Academy's on, there going. There's going to be a lot going on. But yeah, I think it was a really really fun angle, but the first half of the match was pretty lackluster to me, especially considering the competitors you have in the ring, Chad Gable and Sami Zayn. Those are really good workers, and I just feel like they could have done a little more. But definitely not the worst thing ever. I love Otis so much, and I love crazy manipulator Chad Gable. It's just he's a great character. He has a great character right now. Like I already said, the kayfabe injury works really, really well for the storyline for Maxine. And then Zayn retains off of the distraction of Otis walking out on Chad Gable. So pretty good. Otis being the protector of Maxine Dupree, definitely reminiscent of Mandy Rose. And I mean, we didn't get to see that payoff in person. I mean, there was no fans, so there was no cheering, and it was just like a different atmosphere when not Maxine, when Mandy Rose's storyline with Otis ended, and that's kind of sad. So if we do something similar with Maxine, not a bad thing. It was pretty good. It was pretty good storytelling. There were some pretty crazy spots. I think someone went through the barricade at one point. I might be mistaken. They definitely went over the barricade, but good match overall. No like humongous complaints. You already heard my little qualms that I had with it. So yeah, Gable's a brilliant heel. Love that guy. Right after this, we got our like kind of only like mini promo. It was the Kathy Kelly interview of Alba Fire and Isla Dawn after winning, and they basically just said, "Rah, Scotland!" They were behind us, so we won. And yeah, gains on gains. That's pretty much what it was. Uh, and they're nice little tweener champs for the night because they're in Scotland, so they're obviously faces there, but like the characters themselves are heels. So, I mean, they're never really like super giga ultra mega heels, so they're always kind of in between. But I think that giving them the titles was awesome. I hope that we do some stuff with the titles now, but not a bad decision to put it on them, at least for a little while. Next, we had our Women's World Championship. I don't know if that's what it's called. Bayley versus Piper Niven with Chelsea Green at ringside. So this match was very fun, mostly because of Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green, she's just amazing, yelling like at the crowd. Her facial expressions, her pairing with Piper Niven, who's just like this monster, I think it's mint. I think it's great. Bayley needs a decisive win going into this match, and she kind of gets it. Bayley's title run's been a little lackluster, unfortunately. She hasn't had like a big feud. I think she's gonna feud with Nia Jax soon, because Nia won the the women's queen of the ring, so that'll be interesting. But then they might lift the title off of Bayley and put it on Nia, and at that point it would just be like a title run. So yeah, hopefully we do some more with Bayley going forward because she does get the win here. There are quite a few Chelsea Green shenanigans, which I'm pretty down with because she's hilarious. But yeah, she didn't get that like super ultra giga decisive win that I kind of wanted her to. I didn't want her to squash Piper, but I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of a tough situation with Bayley. We do gotta build her up and show her on promos and stuff. But yeah, Chelsea Green gets banished backstage for like slapping the referee, and she sells this like she's just been shot in the leg, and it's pretty hilarious. The crowd was singing "Na na 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 goodbye." It was good. Everyone was into it. Chelsea Green was just on the money, and Piper sold it pretty well too. She was like, "No, my best friend." It was so sad, and Bayley's selling was really fantastic. She made Piper look like Godzilla. She was throwing herself around the ring, and Piper's like, "Rah!" And then Bayley's like, "Oh no!" And it was good. It was very, very good. Very, very good wrestling between the two of them. There weren't like any crazy botches or anything like that. Pretty hilarious. And then Chelsea Green came back in like in a luchador mask. That was hilarious. And she's still wearing like the same exact outfit from the beginning. And she came in to distract the ref, and it was pretty good. It was pretty good. It was stupid, but I like stupid sometimes. And Bayley gets the visual pin on Piper. I don't remember what exactly that was from. That might have been from the Bayley to belly from the top rope, but not bad, not bad. The the visual pin, serves its purpose. It's like, oh, she would have had her there. And then we got a really good, like, oh, near fall moment. Poison, I think it was a poison driver? Yeah. From Piper Niven onto Bayley that looked absolutely deadly. It looked devastating. She landed pretty much directly on her head, but she sold it perfectly because she didn't actually land on her head. It just looked like it. So no Chad Gable situation here. And I actually did think for like a split second, like, are they going to put the title on Piper? They did not. Bayley ends up retaining off of a pretty sick crucifix driver. I think if we're looking for a new finisher for Bayley, That's pretty nice. I mean, she delivered it perfectly, and it looked great because Piper's a bigger competitor. But yeah, that crucifix driver was nasty, and Piper sold it fantastically. They had a little trouble getting into the pin, but I mean, you can't really expect like perfection all the time. So yeah, I think that that should be Bailey's new finisher going forward. It was a good finish to the match. Chelsea Green did her best to maximize her time on television. It was good. It was great. I really enjoyed that match. Solid thumbs up on that one. Going forward, I think Bailey just needs that big feud that I was talking about maybe before Nia Jax, so she can build herself up and look like a champion that can beat Nia Jax. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. And then before Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, we had some musical lads with bagpipes playing Scotland the Brave. That was cool. Rah, Scotland, always down for a little a little hometown buzz. This match was a match. McIntyre was like breaking the decibel meter and throwing the Scottish flag around him and just being the king of Scotland, and everybody loved him. He was the babyface that night. He made Cody Rhodes look like a bum. And I mean, you would have thought Priest was like the Night King the way the crowd was reacting to him. They hated Damian Priest. And it was awesome. It was just an electric crowd. It was very, very solid, reminiscent of France and of Puerto Rico. It was just these foreign crowds bring it, dude. I mean, they don't get a lot, so when they do get it, it's like actual fans are there, unlike Saudi Arabia. But I digress. Let's not get into that. Let's see. Let me take a look at my notes here. Oh yeah, McIntyre hit an Undertaker dive over the top rope at one point. That was pretty crazy. And Priest tried to do the same. That did not go well. We'll get to that. But yeah, McIntyre was on his game, dude. He was just like nailing everything. They were wrestling really stiff, which is cool. It always makes it look more realistic, and it was pretty good. All right, so let's talk about the elephant in the room, the one that's looking at all of us. Priest getting caught in the ropes was really hard to watch. It's professional wrestling, stuff happens, and that's absolutely 100% understandable. But it was really tough to watch. Like just seeing him get like completely caught in the rope, and his knee, man, his knee must be so messed up right now, especially a day later when all the adrenaline's worn off. And I think Drew did a really, really good job of staying in character and like mending that situation. The ref couldn't get couldn't get Damian Priest out, and he's just like hanging upside down for like upwards of a full minute. And Drew's like kicking around and like, oh, how am I supposed to win the championship if this guy's strung upside down? He did a good job. He really did a good job. It was a hard watch for that little bit, but shit happens. It happens. You have to be able to look at the good and take the bad and just kind of acknowledge it all and move on. So yeah, it was a little difficult to watch, and I really do hope Priest is okay, but get it out of the way, right? They ended up finishing the match really, really well. They wrestled. They continued to wrestle stiff. Damian Priest warriored it out, dude. You could see that. I don't think he was selling. I think he's got a real problem with his leg, and if he was selling, then even better for him. Um, I hope he's okay, but they finished the match really, really strong. The Future Shock DDT is just so wildly ineffective in kayfabe now. Like I think that used to be his finisher in like 2010, and now it's just like bonk. Pin? No. Okay, I'll move on with my life. Then on one leg, Priest hits a top rope Hurricane Rana. That was insane. That was pretty crazy. And then Drew kind of no-sells it. He like kicks up and claymores him directly in the dome. And I was like, oh! And no, he didn't get the pin, but near fall. And allowing Priest to kick out of the claymore does make him look stronger, and it makes him look like the warrior that he was for finishing that match. I mean, we could have had just like a no contest if Priest decided his knee was cooked. So pretty good. I mean, they still nailed some crazy spots. They gave a big old ref bump to Eddie Orengo. He went flying off the apron and just like directly into the what is it called? Railing? I don't know. Whatever that is. And then we had the CM Punk bit. I'm not a fan of CM Punk. I'm really not. Never have been. I watched him from like WWE CW to like now. I don't know. I've never been the biggest fan of Punk, and him doing this in kayfabe is makes a lot of sense. Drew McIntyre's been a thorn in his side. He's been a thorn in Drew McIntyre's side. Now we have an interesting feud going forward with him running out in full referee garb, and you could totally see it's him from the slicked back hair. And 1, 2, and then he looks at Drew McIntyre is like, ah, ha, 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 I got you. I'm maniacal and evil, and Scotland hates me. And I thought we were going to do something like that. I was hoping we didn't, because, a feud over the title would have been cool too. But Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk doesn't need a title to make it, big stakes, high stakes. So I'm not really upset with it. Now Punk screws Damian Priest, and Drew like, oh my God, everything is ruined. And then I think he hits a South of Heaven. I don't know exactly how he wins. I think it's a South of Heaven, and puts him down. Drew stays down for the count, 1, 2, 3, and now we have two tweeners fighting again, kind of like Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. Because of Scotland, they were definitely faces for the night, but Drew McIntyre is going to have a lot of sympathy now for CM Punk screwing him over, and CM Punk was the face before this, and heel McIntyre was just working. So I think that they're just going to go full on scorched earth with each other, and they're both going to just be like heels kind of and fighting each other, but they both also have just like natural charisma that people really really like. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting going forward. I think that feud's going to be fantastic. I mean, I've always wanted Drew McIntyre to win that feud. I don't think he will, but it would be awesome if he did. So, yeah, that was, CM Punk screwing Drew McIntyre. Some people really wanted to see that. Some people really did not. I did not. But that's just because I wanted Drew to have his moment in Scotland after he was screwed in Wales 2 years ago. Storytelling, wrestling, it's all got to happen. So what's next for Priest? What is he hurt? Is he okay? Are those injury concerns real? I don't know. I have no idea. Drew was already over as a heel. Punk was already over as a face. Now we're doing something different. So I really hope that we put this in a good direction. We stick to it, and it ends up making sense because this is a big move, especially for Punk, who works best as a heel. So we'll see. On the whole, very solid PLE event pay-per-view, and the Cody versus AJ match, pretty solid all the way through. You already know my opinion on that. The best part of the show was definitely the crowd. I think that this crowd was just electric, dude. They wanted to be there. You could tell they knew exactly what was going on. Every little motion was reacted to in the crowd. Every punch was like, oh, and it was fantastic. The crowd gave this show life. It really did. And then seeing Alba Fire and Isla Dawn scoop up the women's championships was awesome. The tag team titles was fantastic. I loved that. And then we had Bayley and Piper, which was a solid match. Chelsea Green's fantastic. Sami Zayn versus Gable. I think that that's not done. We're definitely not done with that story. Sammy versus Gable might be done. I'm really excited to see where we go on that. I feel like this pay-per-view really added a lot of questions. It was definitely not a end of stories pay-per-view or premium level pay-per-view. But I think it was pretty good. There were some hiccups throughout the show. Hopefully Damian Priest is okay. But I think on the whole, very very solid show. I'd give it like a solid B plus. Pretty good all the way through. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed myself. I had a good time with it. There were some satisfying endings, some not satisfying endings, which you have to have in every show. Every show can't be WrestleMania. You can't have the good guys win all the time, 100% of the time. So, yeah, that was it. Those were my thoughts on Clash of the Castle. I thought that it was a very solid pay-per-view all the way through. I want you guys to let me know what you guys thought of it. I mean, I know that I am not in the minority in thinking that it was a good pay-per-view, but if you didn't like it, or even if you did, just let me know what you thought. It's always fun to talk things through. And yeah, I had a really good time with this. I kind of just sat down and talked wrestling for 25 minutes, which I haven't done before. So, yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this and I can keep doing it. And, yeah, Clash of the Castle, pretty good overall. So, yeah, let me know what you guys thought. I will see you in the next video. Take it easy.